We're going to get started right away, actually. Okay, so a couple of great speakers so far, John and Matt, laying the groundwork. Now let's get into the pre-sale, and this is one of the things that I really like about ICOs a lot, because you can get going without a great big barrier to entry, right? Your white paper, your marketing, digital footprint, and away you go, starting to raise the money in advance to actually raise the development fund costs. Sorry, I don't want to use the word funding now. John has traumatized me from that word forever. And whether you're a small company, like one of the incubator companies here, or whether you're a Deloitte client or a Gallings client, everybody needs to have a really, really great digital marketing campaign in order to expose this to the public, because this isn't something you're going to deal with traditional marketing for. There's no billboards, no TV ads. This is straight up growth hacking all the way, and that's why you are now in the Jordan zone. All right, pre-sale. It's executed before the token creation process. It is analogous to basically saying that you promise to develop whatever it is that you're saying in your white paper that you're going to develop, okay? People have actually executed pre-sales before with creating a smart contract over the Ethereum blockchain, but the thing is these days is that pre-sales are almost always disconnected from any sort of blockchain aspect. It's basically just saying, this is what we're going to do, give us some money and we'll do it, which is, you know, essentially where a lot of those ICO scams that you were talking about before come from, right? There's no binding agreement to actually fulfill what you're doing, and unfortunately bad actors out there will take advantage of that sometimes. But if you engender enough trust between your team of advisors, between your executive team, management team, if you will, and of course, you know, with a really, really great white paper, then you will be able to engender trust in what you're doing, and you will raise money on your pre-sale. Overview. All right, so there's some technical aspects to get going, and we will, of course, flesh these out in future meetups, but for the moment, let me give you an overview of how simple it is to get started with a pre-sale, all right? First, what you want to do is you want to go to the ETH registrar and wallet setup. That's where you actually can create a xyz.eth domain name that will actually replace your Bitcoin wallet, or not your Bitcoin, but your Ethereum wallet address. So essentially it just makes it easier to remember where you should be sending your money, where you want to direct people out there who want to invest in your pre-sale. Give them a nice address to remember that way, okay? Then, of course, we get into the white paper. That's absolutely necessary to get off the ground, and we've talked about that already, so we'll skip over that. Then you want to essentially create your digital footprint, right? And this, of course, mirrors any great growth hacking / digital marketing campaign. You want to have a really great landing page. You want to have all of your social media assets, okay? Your usuals, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You want to also be using Google Plus and Pinterest, and even though nobody even uses Google Plus anymore, for those of you who are SEO challenged, Google Plus postings are actually given preference within ranking signals. So Google itself actually favors Google Plus. So yeah, you basically what you do is you just make sure you're using a really great scheduler, like I don't want to use the word Hootsuite because I don't really like them, but something like that. Or Buffer, or any number of the new ones that are coming out, and just make sure that whatever you post on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram is also going on Google Plus, so that you don't actually waste a lot of time on that, okay? With respect to social media, also you want to be making sure that your presence goes out on LinkedIn, and most importantly, these days, especially when it comes to building community, you want to make sure that Telegram is part of your digital footprint, and this is something that is ICO specific. There's a lot of communities out there, like obviously to mirror all the different ICOs that are out there, but for some reason the crypto community has gravitated towards Telegram. So if you don't have a presence on Telegram, you're going to be losing an opportunity of doing some real marketing to the type of people that you're trying to attract to your ICO pre-sale. All right, now the next one, email lists. Scraping B2C emails is actually against the law, and I'm going to follow the John Shannon don't do wrong kind of thing theory here. And if you're going to do emailing, try and build up the list first. I would suggest that you use your social to drive people to an email sign-up form. You know, that driving to the top of a funnel, let's say. Use your email sign-up as the top of your funnel, because, like I said, even if you could scrape B2C emails, you're going to get in trouble for them. B2B is another matter completely, right? B2B we scrape all day because it's actually legal to do that. B2C, not so much, so just be careful about that, okay? Now, this is a little bit of Jordan secret sauce here, okay? This next point, right here. This is what you want to pay attention to, okay? When you build your community, reach out to high-value investor relations. And this is not necessarily people who are high value in the fiat currency point of view. This is high value, these are high-value investors in the crypto world, all right? And not too many successful ICOs have done without big contributions from high-value Bitcoin people. We'll get to that in a second. And then last but not least, marketing, right? Of course. All right, so to go through each one of these points individually, here is the domain name, or the place you have to go to get a .eth alias for your wallet address, okay? Essentially the way it works is you pay in 0.01 of an ether to start the name process. And once you pay in for your name, that starts the clock ticking, okay? 72 hours is given in the first stage, and people can actually start bidding on that, on your name, and they can actually technically overbid you, right? Creating essentially an auction effect. After 72 hours, you have to expose your bid even more by essentially refreshing that screen and then clicking on a new button that will come up on that page that says reveal your bid. And revealing your bid essentially creates a super cookie on your computer where your bid is displayed prominently to the entire community, right? And again, people are given the opportunity to overbid you. After 48 hours, if nobody has overbid you, the name is yours, right? But during that first, obviously during the first 72 hours and then the second 48-hour period, if somebody overbids you, you can then overbid them, creating an eBay effect, all right? And there have been a few names out there where it's gone down and dirty to, you know, for the price kept on getting knocked up kind of thing. But about 97%, I think it was 96 or 97% of .eth domain names actually end up getting purchased for the 0.01 ether, the minimum amount. All right? Go ahead.
Big important point here, because I've bid on a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't claim your name after the bid process is over, after the 48 hours, the whole thing gets scrapped.
Yeah.
Your ether gets burned, you lose your money, whatever you put in there, and the name is not yours. And I'm not sure if it goes back on the market or if it just gets locked.
Yeah, essentially, you're totally right, of course. What happens after the final 48 is you're going to have to click another step, basically claim your name, and away you go. That gets you the .eth domain name, and it can be used properly in branding, right? You know, instead of giving, you know, a link to some long Ethereum address, you say, here's, you know, Bayview Yards .eth kind of thing, right? And then not only are you giving a convenient way to people, you know, for people to remember how to donate money to your pre-sale ICO, you're also branding yourself as well, okay? White paper, you know what? I'm just going to skip over that completely. I think we've beaten that horse to death already tonight. Digital footprint, all right? Here's the way I would prepare an actual footprint for an ICO, okay? My landing page. I would actually spend some time on that. I wouldn't spend a huge amount of time on that, but you know, whereas it might take me an hour to do a proper landing page, I might spend 2 or 3 hours and make sure that this thing is tweaked up really, really well. Social media, all right? It's not your usual Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and then everything else is unimportant. You do need your basics, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Google+, LinkedIn, like I said before, but most importantly, you need Reddit, you need Slack, and you need Telegram. Sorry, I didn't actually get Telegram in here. I ran out of space and time. The Reddit, Slack, and Telegram community building is perhaps the most important thing that you will do. not necessarily because it's going to attract the most investors into your pre-sale, directly, but also because during your pre-sale, people will join your communities even if they're not a pre-sale investor, simply because they want to watch what you're doing. And then later on, once you get into the token creation stage and you really, you've eliminated your pre-sale discounts, let's say, and you're into your token creation stage, and then you're actually selling tokens at the regular price, people may hop on, right? But they'll be watching through these community channels. So the trick is to really use Reddit, Slack, and Telegram as best as you can. Email lists, I've already talked about that. Paid digital ads. Anybody who's ever listened to me in the marketing meetup before will know that I'm not a big fan of paid ads, except in one condition, a short-term burst. And an ICO certainly qualifies as requiring a short-term burst with respect to getting the word out on your ICO. In fact, I actually recommend to anybody that we've talked to so far, for the people whose ICOs that we're actually running, that we take $5,000 US and use that on paid Facebook and Google AdWords. Anybody who's ever done ads on those two platforms before will know that that's a pretty hefty ad budget. All right, so that tells you how much, and I hate paid ads. I prefer to build assets, right? Building, like profiles into the millions of followers or likes or friends back in the MySpace days. I love building assets, but in this case, you've got what, 3 months to 6 months that you're running your pre-sale on, probably even less. Paid ads work in this particular case. And then, I don't know, some people ask if SEO is important. I'm sort of SEO takes a while to really take effect. It would be better just to actually spend your energy on paid ads. All right, so, but some people are always going to be SEO lovers, especially if they're trying to build a long-term community and keep the phase 2 sale phase going longer than usual. SEO might be something that you want to actually pay attention to, especially with blogging and perhaps backlink creation and things like that. That's really up to you as a digital marketer to take into consideration. All right, high value investor relations. As I said, this is a little bit of secret sauce. So you're all very privileged to be here tonight because of this point. High value investor relations, in this case, I like to refer to them as the Bitcoin whales, all right? And these are people who got into crypto, especially Bitcoin, very early, right? Which, I gotta tell you, I've been kicking myself for 7 years for not doing this. But these people did get in early, right? They got in at 10 cents, at 15 cents, and they're sitting on Bitcoin wallets worth 10 figures, right? These are Bitcoin billionaires. The problem is, if they try and withdraw too much, there are two dangers that they face. Number one, if they sell out too much, they could depress the actual price of Bitcoin in general, right? Like they could sell so much that all of a sudden Bitcoin crashes from, say, 10,000 to 5,000 overnight because of the quantity of sales that they're trying to get through. The second thing is if they sell too much and convert to fiat currency right away, then they're going to get noticed, right? They're going to get noticed by whatever country's taxation body that they happen to live in. That much money coming in to somebody's bank account. I mean, what's the exception limit these days? $10,000, right? I mean, that's one Bitcoin really, right? So they have to watch out for that. These are things that these Bitcoin whales have to be concerned with. So what does that mean with respect to an ICO pre-sale? It means that if you have relationships with these Bitcoin whales, they're more likely than regular investors to pop in more of an investment into whatever your ICO is, because they get more value out of contributing that amount of whatever crypto that they're investing with you in. You see what I mean? Like they're actually being able to realize more of their wallet size, let's say, by getting in on the ground floor into whatever your token is. All right, it's easier for them to do that. All they have to do is make a transfer of crypto into you, and they don't have to worry about depressing the price of Bitcoin or coming to the attention of fiat currency regulators. Marketing, right? This is really a growth hack job all the way. All right, whether you're small or whether you're big, you still need to reach people digitally. This is the only way you're going to attract people like this. Paid ads, the quick burst, as I mentioned before, is probably the most effective way of getting a hold of people on social outside of community building, such as Reddit, Slack, Telegram, things like that. One of the things that I've started to have success with respect to community building is hashtag sentiment analysis, right? And anybody who hasn't really done a lot of hashtag sentiment analysis before, it can be broken down very simply by identifying key hashtag triggers that indicate that someone is a crypto fan or a crypto player, right? And of course, there's dozens of hashtags that you can use, including like hashtag ETH or hashtag BTC. Crap. All right, so I'm like mad. And so you know, with respect to the hashtag sentiment analysis, if you're able to, you know, if you know anything about digital marketing or aggressive growth hacking or anything like that, then this is something that you want to automate, such as, you know, if you identify hashtag ETH, for example, you might want to say, you know, hey, great looking post. Have you considered, you know, the hashtag Matt Davis ICO yet? Right? You can actually automate all of this stuff so that you're reaching out to thousands of posts per day and not having to blow out your time schedule. And this is something we do every day up in the Carlton room. So it's, you know, we're no stranger to it. Are you videoing me? Absolutely no. Anyway, so that's pretty much that pretty much wraps it up. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. We will go again in January. We will go with white papers in more detail. In fact, I would like to actually have a couple of example white papers that we dissect up on the big board. Hopefully the Epson projector is fixed up by then. And yeah, we'll be here every month starting in January.
Thanks, Jordan.
No worries.
Great presentation.
Yeah, man. That was great.
Next time we have it back up for our slides, eh? I lost my power.
Hey, Matt, I've enjoyed that.